Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Nate Diaz has recently gone after Daniel Cormier via a post to social media. Here's what may have got him fired up.
I look at what happened last weekend for Nate Diaz as the best case scenario, Ryan. Ryan, I will sit here and say this without a shadow of a doubt. He was going to lose to Khamzat Chimaev, and he was going to lose badly. As much as Nate dismisses the guy, he just doesn't have the skill set to stop the guy from doing what he does.
Cormier also stated that Diaz was going behind the UFC and Dana White's back if he goes through with a boxing fight against Jake Paul. Diaz wasn't too happy with Cormier and posted this to Twitter. To this, Cormier replied, "Nathan, relax." In this Friday's episode, Dana White enjoys Krispie Churros. Here's the clip.
What's up, everybody? It's Friday here at UFC headquarters, and today we're trying the Churros Krispie Treats. In a saucepan, melt butter and a bag of marshmallows. Pour it over Churros Cinnamon Toast Crunch, mix it together, pour it in a pan, and let it chill for a few hours. All right, here we go. Oh. Churros are huge. It's awesome. Absolute winner. Better than Rice Krispie Treats.
In a recent episode of the Believe You Me podcast, Michael Bisping and Anthony Smith discussed the upcoming lightweight title fight between Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira next month.
What do you think? How do you think that fight plays out? Because I do believe that Islam is, it's going to show just how good is Islam Makhachev. I believe he's going to give him a really, really hard fight. Number one, Islam's huge for the weight class. I'm intrigued to see how the grappling styles of each other fare against one another, because we know Charles is the man, but Islam relies on that so heavily as well. I think Islam's the stronger guy, probably the better wrestler. I think Charles is the better striker. How do you think it'll play out? Typically two guys like this to fight on the feet. I don't know if it will.
Yeah, I think it's going to be grappling heavy early, but I know that Khabib and Islam are very smart, and I don't think that they're going to spend too much time trying to shove a square peg through a round hole. I think that playing for 25 minutes on the ground with Charles Oliveira, I don't care how good you are. Unless he gasses, which he doesn't do, unless you can get him to break or kind of mentally wilt, which he hasn't done in a long time, and he's been in some really bad spots, I don't think it's safe to play that game with him for too long. Like, Islam is not a jiu-jitsu wizard. They're grappling in positional nightmares. And
I disagree.
I just don't think I don't think it's safe. I'm not saying he's not possible. I just don't think it's safe. I think that Charles Oliveira is going to be hard to hold down. I think he's going to be harder to hold down than they expect he is, because he doesn't give about the jiu-jitsu game because he's so good. So he's willing to get himself into weird scrambles and get back to his feet. Islam is going to have to fight him in the clinch because that's kind of his game. It's a lot of clinch takedowns, just like Khabib. Khabib wasn't the double leg, single leg guy. He was the run you into the fence and then trip up your legs and drag you down. I don't know how long you want to play with that game with Charles Oliveira.
In a recent interview, Anderson Silva spoke about the one problem he has with Dana White. "It's strange for me because everyone signs, and when inside they start talking. You guys don't pay me correct, and this and that. I never in my life talked about how much the UFC paid me because I fight a lot, and that's my problem with Dana. It's not a problem, it's a business. Anderson Silva is a company going inside the UFC and signing the contract. It's two companies making business together. My problem with Dana is when he talks about fights, because Dana has never fought MMA in his life. That's my problem when he talks about you can't do that, you don't fight correctly, no, that's my only problem with Dana. I think Dana is a good person. Everybody talks about Dana, he's not good, blah, blah, blah. He's a good person, but he's a businessman. UFC doesn't get to this point now as a big company in the world if the people think I did something, I'm sorry fighters, I did something incorrect. No, the company grew because of hustlers doing something, and that's the game. You're inside or not. You can sign or not sign. You can go anywhere, but when you sign, you make the deal with my company. You can't say nothing because why did you sign? You signed. You have a contract. Oh no, let me out of the contract. You signed the contract. You've seen the rules of the contract, why are you talking about it now? In a recent interview with the Schmo, Sean O'Malley lists his current Mount Rushmore of fighters in the UFC today, and then goes on to speak about Khamzat Chimaev.
Current? I mean, is Conor current? I don't know. Conor's got to always be up there. Nate, I don't even think, is Nate in the UFC anymore? I don't know. I don't think so, right?
We'll count him.
Conor, Nate, Jorge, John Jones, the big names, but I do think, me, Patty, Khamzat are the next wave of the big names.
Next wave making waves. Speaking of Khamzat Chimaev, he's announcing 185 pounds. You like that he's going up to 185 and not fighting again at 170, if that's the case?
I just don't see any other way. I don't think he can physically make 170. It just doesn't appear to be that way. I think he'll do fine at 185. He's very talented, very skilled, and he's a big guy. So I think he'll do fine at 185. I don't know if he's going to run. I mean, if he fights Costa, Robert Whittaker, I know he kind of said, I don't really want to fight Robert Whittaker. He's a nice guy. It's a good way of saying that guy's a tough fight. So 185 is definitely going to be challenging.
Marlon Vera had this to say about Cory Sandhagen's recent call-out.
Even like when you fought here in Melbourne, Australia, man, in 2016, to see what you've become and the way you've sort of shaped your career and seen this run, it's just fantastic. Everybody's recognizing it, including Cory Sandhagen, who obviously called you out. What went through your mind when you saw him call you out this past weekend?
Really nothing. I'm like, you want it, come and get it, simple as that. I feel like, he was in my opinion, he was kind of like wasting a little bit of energy and crying about like, oh, I got left over, blah, blah, blah. I'm fighting low in the rankings. I'm like, I did the same thing my last fight and I didn't complain, Peter Yan got offered the same fight, the same date in August 13, and he declined it. And then we're like, hey, well, Yan declined the fight. You want to fight Cruz? And I was like, yeah, sure. Send the contract. And, why wasting time on, I got left over, I want to fight for the belt, I want to fight ahead. We all want to fight ahead. But sometimes it is what it is, what is available. So, yeah, if you want it, you can come get some. And if you don't get it and somebody else get it, it doesn't matter. I'll be prepared. If it's for him, for somebody else, it's on.
Yoel Romero defeats Melvin Manhoef with a vicious KO last night at Bellator 285 and is now eyeing up a title shot.
You're very passionate about achieving that two-weight world champion glory that you're seeking in the middleweight and light heavyweight divisions. Just in terms of who's potentially next for you in light heavyweight and then who you would target when you drop down to the middleweight, who are two opponents from light heavyweight and middleweight that you're targeting?
Bueno, ahora mismo estamos pensando, eso es para la gente de 205, así que relájense un poquito, tomen su tiempo, ahora vamos a ir a 185.
Right now I think, all the 205, they can chill out, they don't have to worry about anything. I think we're going to make the move to 185 right now.
Ahora lo que estamos mirando y se está, como decimos nosotros los latinos, lo que se está cocinando es la discusión del título en 185.
Right now, what us Latins say is what we got cooking is we're thinking of really trying to chase that title at 185.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.